back to another video. Today going to be going over some of the career mode championships I would like to see in Gran Turismo 7. So you guys have clearly enjoyed my previous few wish lists on premium cars I'd like to see return, events I'd like to see return, and tracks I'd like to see return. And if you haven't seen those went up same time last few weeks. So if you want to go and check those ones out as well, you can. But yeah, I wanted to go over some more specific championship events. I did some of the sort of more specialist events previous weeks, things like the Lunar Rover one that I quite enjoyed. But yeah, I wanted to focus purely on championships for today's. Some of them quite important staples of the Gran Turismo series. I think some of these have been in, well, all previous Gran Turismo games, the numbered ones at least, and some of it coming through to Sport. So obviously I'm hoping we're going to get a single-player career mode in 7 from launch. That was something they failed to do with Gran Turismo Sport, which upset quite a lot of people. I know Sport was focused more on the online competitive racing elements, but yeah, still an important element to any Gran Turismo game. Obviously 7's going more back to the older style of games like, well, the first 6 Gran Turismos, so 6 numbered Gran Turismos, so we hope there's going to be a good full career mode from launch, potentially with stuff added later like it was in Sport. One of the other complaints is that it's going to be always online, a bit like Sport, so you have to be online to do these if you want your progress to save, which is a bit irritating, but it's something they do. But anyway, yeah, I'm mainly going to focus on the ones that were in all previous games, and some of the ones that are for more unusual categories of cars. Those are kind of the ones I enjoy. So we're going to start with the most obvious one, probably, the Sunday Cup, which is usually the first one you do in your second-hand car. It would have been in older Gran Turismos, potentially in 7 as well, because we have the used car dealership coming back. But yeah, in games like Sport, we obviously had new cars, but it's kind of your first race event, as you might have guessed. The Sunday Cup is sort of a casual thing in the beginner league section, I suppose it would be. In Sport we had beginner, amateur, professional and endurance, but it's always split down like that, and you have to acquire different licenses to be allowed into each one usually, so hopefully that will be the system. But yeah, Sunday Cup is the first one I'd like to see return, your sort of first one that you do in quite basic cars. All of the footage in the background is going to be of Gran Turismo Sport though, and I've already got good cars, so might not show that quite as well. But anyway, that's the first one. I'm kind of going in order here, starting with the beginner ones and working through amateur, professional and endurance. So second up is the lightweight KCar Cup, which I believe has been in just 5 and Sport, possibly some more. 5 obviously I think had some of the sort of boxy K cars rather than just the 3 little sporty ones that we've got in Sport, that you'll see in the background footage here. But yeah, that one I loved, particularly some of the older series in previous games. It might be that it was only called the Lightweight K Cup in 5 and Sport, but just racing that style of car, it's that sort of Japanese car culture element that we only get in Gran Turismos, so I think that's quite an important one to see return. Yeah, a lot of fun racing low-powered cars. I've spoken about this in previous videos, going through car wish lists and stuff. It's always a lot of fun. So yeah, I hope to see something like that return in Gran Turismo 7. Third on the list, a bit like the Sunday Cup, is the Clubman Cup, which returns, or it is in all, seems to return in every Gran Turismo game, so I'd be surprised if that wasn't in there. I think that's usually in amateur or professional. It's a little higher up than Sunday Cup, but it's one of these that you can enter in anything. It's one of these sort of casual races, a bit like the Sunday Cup, but they've always had it in all Gran Turismo games. I think in one Gran Turismo game it was split into 2 parts, I think in Gran Turismo 6. But yeah, similarly to the Sunday Cup, I'd be very surprised if either of those aren't in here. Next up, a bit like the Lightweight KCar Cup, the Passion of Dr Wankel Cup, or Championship, which is essentially for the rotary engine cars, as you might have guessed, which is mostly RX-7s in Gran Turismo Sport. I think there's only 1 or 2 cars you can enter that aren't. No RX-8s, which are a bit surprising, or older cars than the RX-7s. Obviously quite a variety of RX-7s, there was a few models, but yeah, quite a lot of fun to do that. Mostly Mazdas. I think only Mazdas in Gran Turismo games. I don't think we've had any other rotary cars in there. But yeah, quite a specific one. Similarly with the next one on here, the Boxer Spirit races, where you can only enter in cars with Boxer engines, obviously, so kind of Porsches, Volkswagens, Subarus, that kind of thing. Well, entirely those, I think. So yeah, those kind of ones where you need a rotary engine or a Boxer engine, I think were really cool. Obviously, there's plenty of other categories like the front engine, rear wheel drive, mid-engine cars. Those kind of ones are quite a lot of fun as well. But these ones I always found more interesting, focusing on sort of more unusual categories of cars. And then obviously the ones that have been in every game I think are quite important to come back, things like the Sunday Cup and the Boxer Spirit. And then the endurance league races, so anything from that really, just the fact we have these longer races. I've done quite a few of them on Gran Turismo 4 on stream, doing these sort of 3 or 4 hour races. Yes, they take forever and are sometimes a bit irritating, especially if for whatever reason you don't win and you have to redo them. But I think it's quite an important part of Gran Turismo career mode championships to have some of these endurance races. So yeah, I'd like to see that kind of thing return as well. One thing I would say about, well, from Gran Turismo Sport is it would be nice if the AI were a little bit more challenging. Yes, in a lot of the examples I've used in the background in this video, I'm using a car that is a bit too fast, well, a lot too fast for the championship it's in. But even when you're in a car that's supposedly similar, it's just not the same level of challenge as it was in Gran Turismo 4 or some of the older Gran Turismo games. I use that as an example because that's the one I've played a lot of recently. So it would be nice if they're more challenging. I'm not great at Gran Turismo, but even I find them a little bit too easy at times. It's kind of nice because you can just go through the events, but yeah, it'd be nice to have a little bit more of a challenge in Gran Turismo 7, which hopefully they'll do. As I say, they keep kind of showing it off to be kind of in the same spirit as the older games. They kind of show the menu screen that looks a lot like 4. There's quite a lot of elements they're trying to go back to Gran Turismo 4 or in terms of the look of the game, so that's kind of what they're advertising it as, so hopefully we get a little bit more of a challenge. Same goes for the license tests as well. It'd be nice if they're a bit harder than Sport, not necessarily as hard as in some of the older games, which are notorious for it being almost impossible at times, but yeah, really hope there is a single player championship or different leagues, different levels that you have to get licenses for to work through, because that was always the kind of main thing of Gran Turismo. I know online's changed a lot of that, but we're getting a sport mode in there, so it'd be nice if we had plenty of single player events at launch, unlike what we had in Sport. I know it's more likely because it's a proper Gran Turismo, it's a 7, it's the next numbered one, so kind of following on from 6. Sport was a bit different, so I understand why it was missing. But yeah, would really hope to see some of them in Gran Turismo 7. But yeah, that is kind of my thoughts on the championships and some of the ones I'd quite like to see return. Some of the ones I think are important to the series. Do let me know if there's any you think I've missed or any you'd prefer to see back, any of your favourites, or if you agree with some of these, do let me know. But yeah, I do hope we hear some more Gran Turismo 7 news soon. We had a few trailers the other week, which I did a video about. But yeah, do let me know if you've enjoyed this one, because there's plenty more kind of wish lists and things we can do for Gran Turismo, and after Gran Turismo's out, potentially some for the upcoming test drive game that we'll be looking forward to them. But yeah, really not long till Gran Turismo 7 comes out, so hopefully we will hear more before too long. But yeah, if you did enjoy this video and you aren't already subscribed, please do consider doing so. But otherwise, yeah, that is going to be all for today. So thank you very much for watching, and I'll be back with the next video very soon.